Hello everyone, it's the 8th of February 2025. I hope you're doing really well. My name is Gary Waterman. I'm a former UK police constable of 18 years, and since 2022 I have acquired irrefutable, verifiable and corroborative evidence of international government fraud that deliberately facilitates the most awful crimes against humanity, most of the world's problems in fact, and in particular against the most innocent of all, our children. Now, many people have been positioned by those involved in the fraud to act as a distraction, a time delay, to provide misinformation, disinformation, and prevent the truth from really being exposed. And it is worth trillions of pounds because it is connected to the taxation system. So this document now is going to be about exposure, and you will see that the evidence links to personal situations in my life around me, which supports the fact that I know I've been positioned by our Creator at this moment in time to expose all of this to try and save humanity and the children. And this isn't something that I wanted to do, but as time goes on and it becomes clear that people are part of this, I have to expose them. So these are screenshots taken from my research, and I've pasted them into a document. And we'll start with a message posted by Mikey P on one of my videos, if I can get that bit to go. And this was a video that I posted, and it was a call to the HMRC, where the call handler admitted and agreed that the taxation system is criminal and fraudulent. This was in February 2024. And Mikey P has come on there and put this comment, and it says, and it's in response to somebody else who had commented, Jay Ollie, and it says, "Brother, don't be fooled by water rat." And I've highlighted that for a reason, because this links to personal connections then to my family's, my wife's family, and in fact, the work that I did in Dorset Police and my sergeant. All right, and we're going to come to that later. But brother, don't be fooled by water rat, absolutely controlled. Okay. Now remember, I'm providing irrefutable, verifiable and corroborative evidence supporting and proving everything I'm talking about. Now this is Mikey P. A picture of him, and this is his TikTok account. Interesting underneath, love and honor, Mikey P. Wow. Remember, these people love to work on inversions, the Freemasons especially. Here's a picture of Mikey P. I believe he's ex-military, and he is part of the rapid response team. Okay, and this is a screenshot taken from Bannerman's video of him. He normally wears camouflage clothing and a beret, and he goes around with a group of people who are claiming, and it is all a distraction, to be trying to stop unlawful evictions by bailiffs. Okay, so they're going around the country, but they're actually linked to the international crime and fraud that is all about. Okay, and you're going to see evidence of that now. So they will be doing that to prevent the truth coming out, but make it appear as though they're doing something. That then enables them to entice people in to a distraction, to silence them, and prevent the truth being exposed if necessary. So here is Bannerman's YouTube channel. You see he's got 51,000 subscribers, so he's being allowed to have a platform. Remember, I'm being suppressed. And social media, including YouTube, are controlled by this international government fraud. They have literally centralized everything. And I believe they've done that through being in control of the currency production, not Bannerman, obviously, but the people above this in control of this. They have control of the actual currency production via De La Rue, also the Federal Reserve. All banks are involved, and the taxation system is linked to it, as well as huge conglomerate companies. So they have full control to manipulate humanity, but it is all done through crime and deception. All right, so they would have used their money in the production of money to buy everybody out. Okay, buy companies out, control land, control construction, everything, the health industry, but it's all through crime. Now that means that you have a very small number of people at the top who are making all of the decisions, but if they're criminals, okay, what they're going to do is fit the system to a very small number of people and manipulate the masses and exploit and victimize the masses to suit the few. Okay, and remember, it's completely criminal. And because it's criminal, they own nothing. Okay, all the land they claim, they own, they don't, because it's through deception. It belongs to our Creator, and we are God's, or our Creator's creation, okay, and therefore it belongs to the innocents. It's all deception of everybody. The entire world that you have been living under is through crime and deception. Anyway, let's move on. So this group of people, the Rapid Response Team, I got in contact with them a few months ago, not realising they were implicated. Of course, I like to give people a chance, even if they are, let's give people a chance to turn things around, to get back to truth, transparency and trust through repentance and a commitment to change things together for the sake of humanity and the children. So I approached this group and they refused to have discussions with me around my evidence, which would undoubtedly have supported them in their unlawful eviction claims. Okay, because the bailiffs are linked to the fraud, the debt companies are linked to the fraud, the insurance companies are linked to the fraud, the mortgage companies, the councils are all part of it. So if you provide evidence that a bailiff is a fraudulent entity company, it cannot act lawfully in any way because it's not been registered lawfully, you see, through this crime. But they refused to assist in that, in using that evidence, and in fact blocked me out of the group completely, so I couldn't communicate with them. And ever since, Mikey P has been confrontational and dismissive of my evidence, shall we say. And now we're going to see why. Bannerman also did an interview with me several months ago, and it was a very unusual interview. It wasn't about me showing my evidence of the fraud and the crime, which is irrefutable. It was about questioning me and whether I'm a Freemason and whether I'm involved with it. Part of the deception. They're actually linked to the Freemasons, okay, themselves, via what they're doing. And you're going to see that via this system of crime and fraud. Okay, and it was clearly an interview to try and discredit or confirm if I had any Freemason connections, which I don't. Okay, and again, this supports why I'm saying I was positioned by our Creator, and you will see evidence to confirm that, because the evidence from this goes back to people within my father's adoptive family, which then ties in with the Cray twins, which then ties in potentially with the murder of the real heirs to the king, to the throne. And I'm going to come to that later. So it's very complicated. So let's focus on this. So Mikey P sent me a load of messages. I sent the message to him. You can see here saying, "Did you write this?" So this was the screenshot from the comment. He then went on to confirm he did in a roundabout way. Then claimed that I'm compromised. I asked who do I work for, and you can pause this to read all of this. There's a lot of them, so I don't really want to go through all of these messages because I want to focus on the evidence. But he becomes very abusive, insulting. I don't react to that at all, and I ask him to confirm: are any of the companies on Companies House linked to Rapid Response to which you are or were affiliated? You refused to answer this previously. Will you answer now? Are you man enough to speak the truth? I said, are you compromised by this fraud on the left? And then he claims to be a Christian, okay, and working for God. I really don't think that's the case when you look at these messages. And I said, are you compromised by this fraud? In our Father's name, will you speak the truth? I am trying to save you, Mikey. Don't miss this opportunity. It won't come again. There has to be truth, Mikey. And he refuses to answer. Watch the avoidance. I'm not doing this dance again, so line it up however you like. I'll share all our previous chats, I presume that's supposed to say, and go from there. I will enjoy sitting back and seeing who supports you on this. Everything UK is fraud, you effing idiot. You're just dragging people down a bullshit path. Brother, I'm good with the big man, so really don't require you saving me, but thank you. Okay, save your prayers and do your worst, because nothing has changed from any conversation. Now fuck off and get busy telling everyone. Sorry to swear. I'm not going to read all of this, okay, but he's very insulting for all of his messages, exposing himself continuously. You can pause this. I had put a video on and then there was an issue with it, so I had to delete it. That actually worked out amazingly because Mikey just exposed himself even more with the correspondence that followed. And I put a comment here: if you care about the children, then you would have assisted in exposing this fraud a long time ago. It is obviously being used to facilitate horrendous crimes, and you know rapid response are part of that criminal system, otherwise you wouldn't avoid the questions. You had your chance to assist in exposing the truth, and you chose to target me instead. I then put another message later, and I said, if you assist me in saving the children and exposing this, I will go no further with my disclosure. But notice again, rat boy, okay? So there's lots of mentions about rat. He keeps calling me rat boy. This becomes very important later, okay? Because you will see rat boy again on the left. He then sends an attachment. So he'd written some sort of summary trying to undermine me. Okay, remember the evidence is irrefutable and verifiable that I'm producing, and he's refusing to assist, and it exposes international government fraud to child trafficking, billions of pounds, trillions actually, of pounds worth of fraud over the decades against the public, against the masses. He then mentions the Octagon family, which ties in with links to Egypt. I then put, I don't hate you, as suggested by, he suggests I hate him in here, or others hate him. I actually care for you and I'm trying to help you, but I cannot do that without the truth. And then he goes on to become quite threatening. So I put take care, and he said, you should do that. You should too, with the mouth. You're upsetting many. I put the truth will prevail, something you're trying everything to avoid, and therefore you do not work for our creator, but in fact the opposite. And that's why we are all in this mess. And if you don't want to say creator, everybody, then, because you don't believe that, then say moral conscience in a rational state of mind, because most people will understand and agree with that is all there protect us. So he then panicked. Okay, so I'm starting to put comments on TikTok exposing multiple groups, including them, and he panics and he sends a screenshot of a company's research that he's done here, and he says, how convenient. And this motherfucker, as you know, has other very shady company history supplying bioweapons to care homes and more. Okay, so now what he's trying to do is create his own evidence, backtracking, panicking because I'm going to expose, but it's too late because you'll see it. And I've just put, the evidence will speak for itself. You have had your chance. He put, my chance, you know as well as I did. You've F all on me because there's F all I need to hide. You talk like a scared coward, evidenced by the fact you will not do a live. Well, there's no point doing a live with him. He's had his chance. The evidence will speak for itself. What if I come to you? Don't tell me where you are. Be more fun. So I suspect the Freemasonic organizations will assist individuals not in the police to find me and silence me. Now, this is where the evidence starts. So when you search rapid response, bearing in mind Mike has refused to confirm if any of his records, any of the records linked to the organisation or group that he is either previously or currently affiliated to. So on the left, we're searching rapid response within the Companies House records, and it brings up various results, and we're going to look at some of these. On the right, I've gone into one of those companies, and we're going to look at that in a bit more detail. And this is the overview. And you can see on the registered office address, it has Inquester Corporate Recovery of St John's Terrace, New Road, Manchester. And we're going to come to that in a minute. Going into the overview, you can see that this company dissolved as I was exposing the fraud. Okay, so they were created in 2016. And as I'm continuing my exposure, they're panicking and they dissolved it in December 2023. On the incorporation document, let's just go back. Here's the incorporation document. Let's just, so I'm not doing this on the PDF. This is the working document at the moment. Okay, so on the incorporation document, which you can find in the filing history, you have the formationcompany.com Limited. Well, that company featured throughout. And although it is an incorporation company, there are multiple links through other companies to all of this that you will see. And on the right here, you can just see that very same company featured in the previous research linking to Bournemouth Court. Okay, and also the international child trafficking via Stanley Davis Group. Now, this is important because Bournemouth is where this all started for me. And that court links back to Exbourne Manor Freehold Limited via the research. And you'll see that within my document for the corrupt court case. So Rapid Response are now linked to the corrupt legal system very, very quickly. That Rapid Response company, okay, and they link into the international child trafficking via that as well, or apparent international child trafficking, shall we say. So Inquesta, remember we said there was Inquesta. So searching Inquesta, you have this company with the same address in Manchester, and it's Inquesta Limited. So let's have a look at Inquesta Limited. And on their incorporation document, you have Formations Direct Limited. And Formations Direct Limited linked to the previous research of Tobias Ellwood, who is the former MP for Bournemouth East, where Exbourne Manor is based, and where this all started for me, where I was a director of that company, and I was removed as a director from that company by someone from the Fleming family for refusing to file forged bank documents. So Tobias Ellwood was the MP for that area at the time. Let's look at Tobias Ellwood. And Tobias Ellwood, remember, we've got military connections, Freemason connection to all of this. He's a Lieutenant Colonel Tobias Martin Ellwood, born in 1966. He's a former British Conservative Party politician and soldier who served as the Member of Parliament for Bournemouth East from 2005 to 2024. Look at the date he changed his position. Now, I didn't know about this until this latest research, so thank you very much, Mikey P, for exposing multiple groups and organisations and people as we go through, and linking back to my wife's family, so thank you for that. And you can see they he moved in 2024 as I'm exposing the fraud, and I had exposed the evidence in him, so he moved, or that he was told to move. Interestingly, reading on, he chaired the Defence Select Committee from 2020 to 2023. So that meant he was involved for the time of the Ukraine-Russia invasion for the Defence Committee, which is all tied into this. It's all a theatrical deception. They're collaboratively working together in relation to this. He was also the Minister for Defence for Veterans, Reserves and Personnel at the Ministry of Defence from 2017 to 2019, the year of the outbreak. Prior to his political career, he served for the Royal Green Jackets and reached the rank of captain, transferred to Army Reserve, and gone on to reach the rank of lieutenant in the 77th Brigade. Okay, 77th Brigade. Interesting. This is where Colin Suderman is linked to, who is linked to the international child trafficking and the fluid taken from poor children, who was using a false name, okay, to try and deceive me, and collaboratively working with Exbourne Manor Freehold Limited, the people in the company where this all started for me. He's also linked to the military and the vaccine companies, okay? And you'll see that from my previous research. So on the left here, we're now looking into Inquesta, and you can see they resigned, this person, in 2022, okay, even though they were appointed in 2013, so that's as I'm exposing the fraud. And they're linked to Whitfield Hebrew congregation. Sorry, I can't speak Hebrew. Congregation. So remember, we've got to tie in everything that's happening in Israel is all connected into this. Okay, and they are trying to falsify biblical prophecies, which you'll see on some of my next evidence. They are not gods. It is a deception against humanity. All right, and they are trying to impose fear on humanity, which you will see through falsified catastrophic events leading up to something huge, I believe. But nobody needs to fear. We just need to understand the deception and non-comply to this criminal system. And that's why we're calling for a complete international shutdown in March. Okay, this is very important that we stop this before they are able to carry on. So we've got Robert Miller, and they resigned in November 2022, as I'm exposing the fraud. They're linked to Redress Services. Redress Services. Here's Redress Services. On the incorporation document, you have Orangefield. Well, it's actually on the Memorandum of Articles of Association. And that, again, links back to the corrupt Bournemouth legal court case where they tried taking me to court for non-payment of service charges. Well, you can't pay into a criminal system, everybody, and they cannot legally force you. It needs to be a safeguarded, transparent system to ensure there is equality and fairness and no criminal activity involving any finances, including the tax system. And on the right, You can see it also links to Vistra on the bottom right there. The previous research links to Theresa May and Vistra. Well, Vistra again links to Expoor Manor Freehold Limited. On the left, you can also see it links to Waterlows, Orangefield, Waterlows. This is just going into one of the documents a bit more, and the saved title of it. And Waterloo is the Freemasonry connected organisation, and it goes back to Expoor Manor Freehold Limited. Oh, let's go back. So within Rapid Response now, so all we've done is gone back to the Rapid Response Company. We're looking at the beginning, we're looking in the people records. And there's a duplicate record for Christopher Dean McGrath, okay? Here's the duplicate record within that company. One of them has 1 company, the other one has 9. This is deliberate by our government because it helps hide this international crime and fraud. They're allowing this to happen. That director is linked to Landlords Gas Safety Services. Remember, we're talking about rapid response. They're going around saving supposedly people from illegal evictions, property evictions. So now we see lots of property connections. Okay, so they have a financial and legal interest to properties through this. Here we go. We have Landlords Gas Safety Services, and they dissolved in 2024 as I'm exposing the fraud. On the right, they're also linked to the All Property Management Services, and they were appointed to that company as I exposed the fraud. Oh, All Property, also Landlords Yorkshire, and they were appointed in December 2022 as I'm exposing the fraud. And this company dissolved. On the right there, you can see April 2024 as I'm exposing the fraud. And they were started as I was starting to make the, I'd had almost a year of making inquiries within my company, but I'd started to really report it to the organisations until I found out they were involved, to the authorities. And that was in December, roughly 2022, when I made that first report. So they're also linked, the same director is linked to Princess Rocks Limited. And Princess Rocks Limited here was dissolved in 2018. And on the incorporation document, one of the main companies in the fraud that links to the child trafficking is Companies Made Simple. And that's because on the Companies Made Simple incorporation documents, you have Westco nominees. When you look at Westco nominees, the governments have removed the company's name from the incorporation document, a very serious fraudulent offence, and that I suspect is to hide the connection to the World Trade Center disaster and the paedophile information exchange being linked through the National Council for Civil Liberties that also then ties in with Westco Nominees Limited. So the World Trade Center disaster is all linked into this. So anyone that does not assist in exposing this criminal system is facilitating the cover-up of the deaths of many innocent United States civilians or people. They're also linked to CDG Shopfit Solutions. And within that company, you have Darren Lindley is linked to Absolute Property Refurb Limited. I'm just showing you a few examples. And that company, Absolute Property Refurb, you have a Graham Michael Cohen in there. And this is where things are very important, okay? Because I suspect that is a false name or stolen identity or a deceased person's name. And you can see on the left there, they have nearly 6,000 companies linked to them. Now, later in this document, you will see how that ties in with my father's adoptive family and connections to the Freemasons, connections to the, there are also going to be connections made via my family to the Cray twins, which then ties in or is starting to tie in with the evidence of the potential murder of the real heirs to the throne. So looking at this Graham Michael Cohen, you can see, and remember, we are not far at all from the rapid response entry, okay? You remember there's over 5 million registered companies, everybody, and we're already critically getting into critical information, tying in with me personally, okay? Or my family personally, shall we say, and very serious crime against humanity. And here we have an offshore company. Remember, this is offshore criminal fraud. So they're laundering money through into offshore accounts, including tax contributions. So remember this company because we're going to look at it later. Offshore Company Management Limited. Obviously, it'll be in another video. On the right, so we're looking Offshore Company Management Limited now, and that was incorporated in June 2002, not long after the World Trade Center disaster. And you can see here the names. Look at the name changes. Okay, now the first name was Rio Ferdinand Limited, from not long after the World Trade Center disaster until 2019, the year of the outbreak, which all ties in with this, everybody. All right. And then they changed their name again in 2023. So as I'm exposing the fraud, they panicked, they changed the name. Then they panicked again as my evidence and exposure continued and changed it in January 2024. Now that removes the accountability and liability from the previous company name, and they would know that. Remember, this is government fraud, everybody. Government fraud. Highest level. Trillions of pounds worth, facilitating death, destruction, suffering, exploitation, victimization of most of humanity. And it's international. So that director links to now London Olympic companies. Many of them, I'm only showing you some of them. Football companies, Michael Owen Promotions Limited. Remember what I've been saying about the football companies or football clubs? Most of them are fraudulent. Wayne Rooney Limited. And I've just thrown some interesting ones there. Boobs Limited. Bearing in mind this links to the sex trade and sexual immorality and child trafficking and sex trafficking. You've then got Congestion Charge Limited, everybody. All right, so it's all fraudulent. All these fines, all these things they're trying to charge you, it's criminal, it's fraudulent, it's linked to this. Sweet FA Limited, found that interesting. Every now and then they have a company that just completely mocks what they're doing, rub it in everybody's faces, and they've allowed a trail of evidence to be exposed by the right person. I am that person, and I am positioned here by our creator for this reason, to expose this and save humanity, including these people involved in all of this, everybody. Okay, I'm trying to save them as well. Here we have United Kingdom Limited, USA Limited, 999 Security Limited, Topless Limited, the UK Democratic Party, Sex.com Limited, all linked to that same director. Okay, Arsenal Limited, we're going to come to that a bit later, the Arsenal Football Club, World Cup Merchandise Limited, Olympic Games again, Everything for the Girls Limited, and look at this for a mockery. I mean, obviously you've got to laugh, but this is how they're mocking humanity with a company name of, this is the company with the longest name so far incorporated at the Registry of Companies in England and Wales and encompassing the registries based in Scotland. Scotland is very important in relation to this. And now we have Skyfall Limited. Those of you who followed my evidence will know the Flemings, who removed me from the company for refusing to commit a crime of filing forged bank documents whilst I was a director, are linked to Ian Fleming and the creation of the James Bond movies via Ian Fleming, who wrote the books. On the right, you then have Elite Music Productions. Elite, they love to call themselves the Elite. Unbelievable. They're the biggest criminals on the planet. The Italian Job Limited, thought that was interesting because we have links to Italy and the Vatican in all of this, and the religious establishments. This is a biblical time, everybody. You need to understand this. There is a creator, 100%. Okay? And if you don't believe in the creator, then believe in moral conscience and a rational state of mind, okay? To protect you all. That's there by our creator to protect you all. The system has come far from that. Far from that. It's all about lies, deceit, victimization, exploitation. All right, it's not of our creator. On the right, GoldenEye. Again, another James Bond connotation. Skyfall Residential Limited. Elite Music Productions. Boiler Room Records. Okay, Boiler Room. Now, that's interesting. If you don't know what Boiler Rooms means, it ties into fraud. This is how they're mocking everybody, okay? They're telling everybody. And it's been the right person come along at the right time to expose all of this. And it says, in business, a boiler room is an outbound call centre selling questionable investments by telephone. It usually refers to a room where sale people work using unfair, dishonest sales tactics, sometimes selling penny stocks or private placements or committing outright stock fraud. They're telling us, everybody. So all you need to do is not comply, okay? March, complete non-compliance to bring in a new system. Here's Boiler Room Records looking into that. It's got SRV LLP. in there. Okay, SR. This is in the people record. SRLV LLP. So here's looking at SRLV LLP. And then we have Egypt connections, all right, but lots of burger companies. And in a minute, you'll see David Beckham and how important his connection is in this. We'll come back to this in part 2. Thanks very much. Bye.